Okay, so what if I told you that a single piece of advice, thousands of years old, could unlock an entire spiritual universe? Well, that's exactly what we're going to explore today as we dive into the profound heritage of filial piety.
So here it is, the core idea from the ancient Chinese text, the classic of filial piety. Honor your father and mother. Seems pretty simple on the surface, right? I mean, it's a sentiment most of us have probably heard in one way or another.
But this is where it gets really fascinating. What if this wasn't just, good family advice? What if this single command was the actual foundation, the very center of a complete spiritual worldview? That's the question we're going to dig into.
All right, so to really get the big picture, we've got to start small, right at the very heart of the family, where this whole thing begins.
The official term for this whole idea is filial piety. Basically, it's all about reverence, respect, and care for your parents and elders. And I really want you to hang on to that word reverence, because it means so much more than just being polite.
And this is super important, because it clears up a big misunderstanding. Filial piety is not about blind obedience. It's not just some chore or an obligation you have to check off a list. No, it's about a genuine feeling of reverence, about actively caring for them, and really taking responsibility. And that difference is, well, it's everything.
Okay, but here's the thing. This idea doesn't stop with your living parents. Not even close. It actually stretches way back in time, like an echo of your ancestors. And our source material gives us a huge clue right here. It says flat out that family and ancestors were central to Chinese spirituality. So what does that tell us? It tells us this isn't just about your mom and dad. It's about seeing yourself as one link in this long, unbroken chain.
So that leads to the big question, right? How does something you do today, honoring your parents, somehow connect you to ancestors from generations ago? Like, what's the bridge between those two things? Well, it works like a flow, a kind of chain reaction. See, it all starts in the present, with honoring your parents. When you do that, you're also upholding their legacy, everything they stand for, and that makes you the bridge to the past. That very act is how you honor all your ancestors. You literally become the living link in this incredible chain of respect. All right, so we've connected the present to the past through family. Now, let's zoom all the way out. Let's look at the biggest picture and see how this one simple idea about family just explodes into an entire spiritual universe. And here's the absolute key. That chain of honor we were just talking about, it's not just a nice way to think about your family tree. No, it becomes the actual framework for a whole spiritual worldview. It's the lens you use to understand your place in the universe, in everything.
Just let that sink in for a second. This one single relationship, parent and child, it becomes the blueprint for everything. It's the model for how you treat the rest of your family, how you see your own history, and even how you connect to the spiritual world. It all comes back to that one core dynamic. It's wild.
So, where does all this leave us today? Let's pull this ancient idea into the present and talk about what its heritage really looks like.
And if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this. From one simple command, honor your father and mother, you get this huge, complex, and really deep spiritual framework. It's just an amazing example of how one core idea can shape how an entire culture sees life, death, literally everything.
So, I want to leave you with a question to think about in your own life. When you look back at your own family's heritage, what's the single most important lesson you've learned from it?